How can a child get on a swing when there's no accessible swing? How is a child going
That's, okay, got it, yeah. We don't have accessible swings in this line, but the surface is accessible, so a child in a wheelchair would be able to be placed, especially on that bird's nest thing. They feel very comfortable in
Is
it.
that the only thing that people can on?
No, they could go on a climber.
How?
No.
There's a low, there's
not ADA.
There's low,
Yeah, I'm reading my dissertation in this.
Why don't you just go together with the and see what everybody is at? I think they would know that.
So that is a good question. This is not ADA approved.
it is ADA, it's ADA accessible.
But it's not. And the surface, wood chips, that sort of thing is not ADA.
It's not a use material, it's engineered wood fiber, it has a resin.
So you have to keep adding to it all the time, or it's permanent?
We are not imagining that we do. I mean, we will from time to time, but it's not like a mulch pile that you have to put on every day. It's a stable, ADA compliant surface. And, okay.
The turtle, where the turtle's now, what was that video on my map?
The turtle is in a different area.
Turtle stays where it is.
They're not building anything in that area anymore, right? On the old plan.
Yeah.
Nancy, I have a question. You said the original plan was 10,000 square feet. What is it now?
Yes.
Did you say that was out of 239,000 square feet that the park is?
Yes, the park is 5.5 acres.
Roughly 10.
How many square feet is the park?
The whole park is 239,000 square feet.
It's about 5.5 acres, okay? The project disturbance is 0.14 acres. There are, what I'm showing you today is 6,189 square feet. So it's approximately, for the bigger, where the top pond is, it's about where we're landing up now, it's about 350 feet in one direction, and then 400 in the other. And then the bottom where the swings are, it is about 300 by 300.
The numbers you gave don't add up. It's 230, 5.5 acres roughly.
Oh, here I go.
6,000 square feet would be 144 acres.
So, no, 0.14.
Oh, 1.14.
Okay. So the top bit is 360 by 4 acres, and the bottom is 350 by 210.
Will this be available somehow if we?
Yes, because it's the name we will post it on the website and in the newspaper.
Thank you.
So there's a huge problem with the water depth issue, and Mr. Jones promised to take care of that issue prior to this construction. What is being done about it? We discussed that in August at that meeting, and
Talking about stormwater?
yes, stormwater insurance. And that's a whole issue, possibly still all this development not taking care of that problem, and where are we on that?
We don't see, according to Ray that this project will have any effect whatsoever on the stormwater flow. It's just not.
Have you been out there during the storm? It's a
The
flood.
flow,
I've been out there several times during rains, and I say I've been out there during some pretty heavy rains, and I personally have not seen the significant flow. I can certainly see evidence of flow afterwards, but I've never experienced it firsthand.
But what's being done about remedying the problem? Joe
So-
Kirsten said he was going to take care of that. And
Well, I can't really speak to that. The meeting that I was in, that it was addressed, I do not recall Curtis Jones ever saying he was going to take care of this. I remember him saying he wanted to look into this. That's my recollection of how that conversation went. We at Parks and Rec, we've taken a few steps to help try to alleviate the issue a little bit by putting, I forget exactly how many, almost 100 yards of organic base, like a mushroom topsoil mixed with some other compost, did some aerating of the ground, overseeded with grass seed to help build up the soil throughout the park system. It's very difficult though, because the park is really covered in trees. So that ground is not getting that much sunlight. It's really difficult to establish grass in a space like that.
And also, anything you do to the soil is going to disturb the tree roots, and the trees are one of the most important things in the park. And we don't want to do anything to jeopardize the trees.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Peter Logan here. My question about this is very simple. This is stage 1. You mentioned, so assuming there's a stage 2, which would be the other pod. For those of us that value the park for its open space are disturbed by the fact that even though this disrupts a small percentage of the total ground, it has a major effect on the park as a whole. For instance, when Donald Trump builds his Great Wall along the south of this country, one could say it occupies a very small space of land, but it has a huge impact. And my sense is, with this project, the way you have laid it out, you have two pods coming into one another, more or less halfway across the park, bisecting the park into two smaller divided sections like a wall. What I want to know is really very simple, because that is the thing about this that disturbs me the most. I like the open space. This choice to lay it out across the middle of the park is having the biggest impact possible on the open space. Did anybody talk about, or is there any reason that these pods can't be oriented to run along the sides of the park instead of bisecting it as it is right now?
How do they go? I mean, can I just say before you answer, use the word wall. Let's not walk away from here thinking there's a wall. It's not a wall.
It is going to
I want to be clear too that, my name is Catherine, I'm the Commissioner of the Parks and Rec. Thank you all for being here tonight. I want to be clear too that this is still open space. This is just open space that we hope more people, and especially more little people, will come and use. There is nothing barricading this space. This is open space. You will be able to see through it. You'll be able to sit in it and enjoy your surroundings around the park. So if we were building a building in this space, right, if there was a structure of some sort, I could absolutely understand your concern. And I just came from a meeting where there is a structure being built in a park, so there is a loss of open space. But in this park, by adding a play space, it is not taking away any open space in the park. It's just changing the open space. So hopefully we're going to attract some young children and families.
I think that your definition. Your definition of open space is quite different from my definition of open space, which is the ability to move through the entire park unimpeded and without feeling hemmed in. What you are doing here is creating structures. You are developing part of the park, limiting the space, and my question hasn't been answered. Why couldn't these pods be oriented along the sides of the street so that they don't go into the center of the park, which is what they're doing now? Can you answer that, please?
Yeah, it was a design choice that was made and vetted, and so I personally like the way that where they're located. I'm sure we could, take a poll and we would have probably a room of I don't know, 75 different opinions. Where they're located, again, though, there are no barricades to the open space, and the whole idea by creating a natural play space and using natural elements are meant to reflect the nature that is in the park, right? This is very different from a traditional playground, which, by the way, we have playgrounds in probably 80% of our parks, we have not had any complaints ever before in the 10 years that I've been doing park work where people say that a playground is impeding open space. I've certainly heard that critique about buildings and structures, but a playground is meant to bring more people to the open space, and that's what we're hoping for.
And that swing is how tall? 6 feet, 8 feet?
Probably 8 feet, yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that's what I'm talking
Yeah, but it's not, but to be clear, sir, that swing is not going to impede vision any more than a tree would, and perhaps less than a tree would. So there are trees all throughout the park, and it's actually much skinnier, a much smaller caliber than some of the trees in the park. And so if you want to see beyond the swing, you just move to the right or you move to the left, the same as you would with a tree.
Not my
It's just a piece of
definition of open
wood that
space.
goes
Sorry,
out.
we have very
Sorry.
different definitions.
As a resident who actually lives right across the street from the park, I heartily endorse this because as it stands now, and my family has lived in this neighborhood for over a half century, that park is primarily underutilized for most of the people. It is not a Louis Haven Gorge, which is a wonderful space. But this is a park which should be accessible to the entire community. And to have a development like this, I do not see as being inherently a problem. It seems to me to be something that the entire community could use and could enhance the park.
Thank you. And I'd like to respond. When I took the job as Parks and Rec Commissioner, one of my first meetings was about this project. And, you know, I took it very seriously. And I, tried really hard to consider both the pros and the cons of changing the landscape of the park, right? And I feel that throughout this entire process, we have made some real compromises around how we can keep everybody happy in this process, right? Keep everybody feeling like what they were hoping to achieve through this process was realized in some way. But we all know that compromise, a really, really good compromise means that nobody really gets everything that they wanted, right? And I know that there are people who don't want to see the park changed in any way, and don't want nature elements or play elements of any kind to enter the park. I know that, and we've heard you, and we understand that. But I want to be clear that we've made the decision that a playground is coming to McMichael. This nature play space is coming to McMichael Park. And in my 10 years of doing Parks and Rec work, and my 12 years as a mom, I'm here to tell you that nothing bad has ever happened when a playground has been brought to a community or a public space. It is, and that is my prayer and my hope for all of you, that this playground serves as a way to bring people together, to bring more people to McMichael Park, to bring more stewards to McMichael Park, to bring more families to East Falls. If we had that for every community in the city, and that's our mayor's hope, the Rebuild Initiative is building parks and playgrounds all over the city. It's going to lift up our city. It's going to make it stronger, and that's our hope for McMichael. So we are here tonight to present this one more time, and then we're going to build it, and it's going to come. Generations of young people to McMichael Park. We're going to welcome generations of young people to McMichael Park. And they're going to have birthday parties there, and we're going to have baby showers there, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful place for everybody to enjoy, including the people who love the park today and will continue to love the park forever and walk their dogs there, but not children.
A couple of things. Our mayor wants the city to be a city of equity. And to be a city of equity is to make sure all people in the city get the things that they need from playgrounds, libraries, whatever schools. East Falls is not sharing the equity. We already have all this, and I couldn't be battling my head against the wall. I understand that. I find it rather, and I know you're not trying, that was not the goal of this, but it's going to happen in here because we do have feelings and things about things. East Falls does not need that playground by any stretch of the matter. We have wonderful playgrounds that the councilman created for our community. They're state-of-the-art playgrounds. McDevitt, in Yard, Cloverly, whatever. We have a school that is starving for a playground, a community playground, as they are advertising it and announcing it. This is a community playground where we can bring the community together, where it is needed. I'm not gonna lie, I feel sick that this community thinks it's quite okay to spend bazillions of gads of money in a park, a beautiful open green space like Pastoria's Park and some other very few parks in the city, and spend that amount of money to put it in this beautiful park when the school would love to have a beautiful playground.
Let me respond. I've heard this argument, I understand the argument, let me be clear that I've heard the argument, and no one besides Jim Kenny and perhaps Councilman Curtis Jones cares about equity more than I do. The reason I took this job.
Is that why
It just, I'm not sure.
Excuse me, can we just let the business speak?
But equity goes both ways. And if we rewind the tape from tonight's meeting, about 10 minutes, what I heard you say about 10 minutes ago was, where's our money for our stormwater management? If this park has everything it needs, equity cuts both ways. Don't ask for money for benches, memorials, or stormwater management if you're not willing to take it for a playground. I'm not saying that the park doesn't need, every park in our system has needs, right? But I don't think the kids in East Falls deserve a playground, don't deserve a playground, any less than a kid in West Philadelphia, where we are, keep in mind, building through the Rebuild Initiative. So the Rebuild Initiative is a $500 million investment in parks and rec centers and libraries, whatever neighborhood of our city. This is not a rebuild project. Funds are being allocated through this through ITAC funds that come from the city councilman's budget. He gets an allocation each year, and he has made the decision to allocate funds towards this project. It is not being spent with rebuild dollars. However, in underserved communities throughout the city, we are finally going to see equity in terms of our public spaces, our parks, our rec centers, and our libraries through the Rebuild Initiative. But if we don't believe that East Falls, that funding should be spent in a park because it is privileged, because it is affluent, this is what I've heard. We are affluent. We are privileged, right? We don't need funding for our park. Then that means you don't need funding for what? For just a playground? You just don't want money for a playground. You would like money for stormwater management. You would like money for a memorial. All good things. I believe in those things. But equity goes both ways, in my opinion.
Everyone should understand about the playground at Mifflin. First of all, the community council is committed to a playground and raising funds for a playground at Mifflin. When it happens, it will not be able to be used by residents of the community while school's in session.
That's not true.
That is true. I'm sorry, guys. It's true.
Penn Charter's
If
playground.
I take my grandchildren up to Penn Charter, excuse me now, I listen to you. Not only can my grandchildren use the playground at Penn Charter while school's in session, they can't use it in the summer when camp is in session.
That's Penn Charter, but you know about James
Yes.
and the school.
I understand totally that layout of Mifflin will not enable people to use the playground while school's in session, right in the window. That's what I believe.
I also want to be clear that whether we're talking about Abbotsford Homes or whether we're talking about Mifflin School, everybody will be welcome to use this playground. Our public spaces are open to everybody. And if kids want to use this playground because they don't have one at Abbotsford Home, if they don't have one at Mifflin School, we're going to encourage them, come to McMichael Park. This space is for everyone. We always want more people to use our parks and open spaces. They should be welcoming for all.
Let me get somebody else. Yes, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I live on the 35th block of Tilden. It's a row house neighborhood. The way I heard about this park was one day in the summer, this is what happens in a row house neighborhood. All the mothers with young children go sit on someone's porch, and the kids play on the sidewalk. And one day, and I love the women on my street, who are no longer there right now, but we have new ones. It's a lot of little kids. And the thing is that I was walking by today, and we're sitting and we're talking, and we're saying, wouldn't it be nice if there was a climbing structure in McMichael Park? A climbing structure, something more than the 2 minutes it takes a kid to run around the turtle. And we started talking about it. And these women, the 3 that I know of that were on my street, we had a meeting and they invited an artist. And this artist came to the meeting with popsicle sticks. And he said, this is what I was thinking about. And he just sort of splays them out and shows how kids could be climbing on it. When the colonial tree fell down, all the kids went over there to climb on that tree. This has become, I don't even understand what this has become. You know, I come home from these meetings and I just think, do I live here? I mean, it's so toxic, this whole thing. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, I love McMichael Park. I loved it the way it was. But I think if we have a few, it's not, you know, when you have little kids, to be able to go across the street and have a place for them to run. I mean, you can talk about this being a privileged neighborhood, but these are people that live in row houses, and it's a row house neighborhood, not as anything else. And many of the kids on my street send their kids to the Mifflin School. It's not like they don't care about the Mifflin School, care about the Mifflin School. But I think that this is something that we, you know, it's going to make our neighborhood lovelier and more welcoming, and certainly more welcoming to young families who we are really attracted. That's what comes to East Laws. So.
A couple things. First of all, saying don't come to me for stormwater management or benches if you don't want a playground. That was part of the discussion about if you're going to build, we need to do this and that. We didn't come to you with our hands out for that and say, give us money, don't give us a playground. So
Yeah, I wasn't saying it was a quid pro quo.
Okay.
Paul.
All right,
I was
that's
just
all
saying
right.
that if you don't want money spent in your playground, if you don't want money, if you don't want money spent in your park, right, because you care about equity, and you believe you are already, which is, I believe, the argument, we have enough here in these calls. We don't need, more money spent here. Then it's a little troubling for me that you want money spent for other things, just not the playground. That was the argument. Not the
Again, those
playground.
requests came as part of our discussion, this ongoing discussion for years that you and I, several other people
Yeah.
had outside of this,
Yeah.
about if you're gonna build, which you told us, as you said earlier, we made a decision, we're gonna build this, deal with it. So,
I didn't say deal with it.
okay, sorry, you said.
I said it's gonna be great. Kids are gonna go.
You said we made a decision. So, but getting back to that, you said, don't ask for money for X, Y, and Z if you're not gonna take A, B, and C. That's not how this came about. Regardless, that's because what we were saying. This is a discussion we've had again as part of this ongoing thing. What are your plans for maintenance? You told us that there is no budget for maintenance. Who do you think is going to take care of this? What about, we talked about this again, specifically, the sidewalk. You can't get to this park if that sidewalk's not fixed. You talked about whether it's accessible. You can't, an able-bodied person cannot walk that sidewalk. You're not going to be able to push a wheelchair on it. That sidewalk is like this. So is that part of the plan? We talked about this before. We never really got an answer. That sidewalk needs to be repaired, replaced.
Yeah, that's
before
certainly,
you can build anything.
yeah, we can certainly take a look at the sidewalks and see if there's work that needs to be done there. We're happy to do that. Lots of our parks need work around the sidewalks. I won't lie to you, it's a huge issue for us throughout our system, the perimeter of our parks.